Hello, everybody. I believe I am live. If you are here, can you say hello? Well, so welcome to SEO Office Hours, our bi-monthly day where I go live and answer everybody's SEO questions. Hi, Teresa. And I also have started to do a focused topic for each session. So, sorry. Yeah, so welcome. This is the first one of December. Our next one will be December 19th, the third Thursday of the month. But yeah, I thought I'd start with the questions I got before we went live. And we got a question that we've gotten before, which is how to do a lot of SEO searches for free. So I'll put what I always put in the chat for this question. These are some places where you can do some keyword research. I did just look through all of them to double check like what the setup is, the situation, and it looks like all of them you do have to pay for, and but most of them have free trials available. So I thought I would share my screen and show you what I'm talking about, so that everyone can see this from now on. Like these are the different tools. I will share this screen. I'm gonna go over here so I can see the chat. Okay, so this one is called Mangles. It's the one that someone previously on Office Hours said was free. So I looked into it today earlier, and unfortunately, it's not officially free. I think, let's see. So I did a search. Let me do another search. Keyword research. And I'm trying to see where I saw what I saw. Maybe up here. Yeah, so if you go up here, I created a free account. So yeah, you only get 5 searches a day. So obviously that's not, as this person asked, a lot of searches for free. But so, there's ways of getting around that. You could, create a bunch of different accounts with all the emails you own. And, I used to do that all the time when before I decided to purchase a software. So yeah, you could create a bunch of accounts and go on and get like 5 free searches from this account, 5 from this account. That's not the best user experience, but if you're desperate, I would do that. I did look into the actual pricing though here. Yeah. And yeah. It's actually not that expensive. I mean, it's $19 a month. I don't know if they're doing some sort. Oh, so this is annual. So let's see monthly. Okay, so it's more expensive if you do it by month. Black Friday plans and prices. Okay, so it looks like they're doing some sort of discount right now, so that's cool. But yeah, so monthly the price would be $31, which is obviously more. But yeah, if you pay for the whole year, it's only $19 a month, which is I think probably the cheapest keyword research tool I've ever found. I think, and you would get 100 keyword researches a day, and yeah, that's a lot. I don't know if I've probably done that, but that would be a very busy day for me. So yeah, there you can pay for it. And then yeah, I looked into some of the other ones. Uber Suggest is not free, but so they give you, let's see how. Let's see how many they give you. Not sure how many they give you, but they give you, 2 out of those. They only give you 3 searches a day, so that's really bad. But yeah, so let's see the pricing for this one. Okay, so this one is actually yearly. Yeah, some people do lifetime for this. So yeah, I have known people who have done a lifetime for Ubersuggest. I mean, it's only $290 for your whole life, so I guess that's a pretty good deal. And you would get to do 20,000 suggestions a month. So yeah, these are always paid options of this. Moz, same as the other ones. You get, so this one's interesting. This one says, I think this must do it monthly. So I think you get 10 free searches a month. So like, once again, you could create a bunch of different accounts and, do 10 searches a month on each email. Or you could pay for Moz. Ahrefs. Ahrefs is interesting. They don't really have a free version, except for you're on this page, right? And you could search like keyword research and then hit find keywords. I think you can do that as many times as you want. And this will pop up with, so some suggestions. I think you could probably do that as many times as you want. And then at the bottom, it tries to sell you the plan. So it looks like their plan is $29 a month. So you could try Ahrefs, Ahrefs is, I would say, probably the most popular SEO tool. It's between that and SEMrush. I know a lot of people like Ahrefs more. I use SEMrush because it's what I'm used to, but I kind of wish I went with Ahrefs. So yeah, you could technically maybe try and just do this all day long and just look at this list. And then SEMrush, which is what I use, I just looked up, has a daily limit of 10 keyword searches. So you could do 10. So technically you could do like all of these and get like a bunch of free ones a day. So yeah, you get 10. And then there's one called SERPstat. I believe you also get 10 a day. And SERPstat, I believe, is pretty affordable. So yeah, SERPstat.com. I'm not sure if I put that in here. Oh, let me add it to my list. Yeah, so Teresa, I use SEMrush. It's very expensive, the plan I use, but it's because I have to use it for all my clients. So I have to have like, the agency view or the agency account. It might be cheaper for like a one user, but yes. Oh, it's already on there. I forgot that I already put SERPstat on there. SERPstat on there. Okay, so it's not exactly the cheapest, this one. Oh, 1 month. Okay, so I guess SERPstat is $59 a month. So yeah, not the cheapest out of all the other ones. And then lastly, I just wanted to see if I could show you the kind of the only free-ish option. I'll call it free-ish because it's a little different. But keyword, what is it called? Explore Google Ads. Basically, there's a loophole where you can kind of use a keyword planner. You can use Google Ads' keyword tool. So let me see. Use keyword planner. And the only disclaimer I have for this is that it's not going to give you the exact amount. So like on all these others, it'll say like, it'll say like 7,500 searches a month or 17,300. So like exact numbers. For Keyword Planner, you're going to get ranges. So it's kind of annoying. Let me see. So the only thing about this is you do have to create a Google Ads account. So you'll go to ads.google.com. We're just going to go through this together. Hopefully it's not boring. Ads.google.com. And the other disclaimer I will say is I believe you have to give your credit card information to get started. But maybe not. This is my husband's email. Full disclosure. And it looks like I can. So you go up here and then, sorry, it's been a while. All right, let me go into my account. So go into my account, ads.google.com. I will go in here. And yeah, I believe you might have to give your credit card, but you don't ever use it unless, oh, hi, Emily. You don't ever use we're going over Keyword Planner, which you and I have talked about. So you don't actually ever use your credit card. But I think to get started, you might have to put it in so that they think like, oh, she's going to create an ad. Because the idea of someone using this would be, oh, they're going to create an ad. So yeah, once you go in and you go to ads.google.com and you pretend like, oh, I'm going to run an ad, you create like your whole account. I believe you come down, you come down here to tools. Tools, keyword planner. So yeah, I would go through the whole process, but then you'd have to watch me like put in a credit card number. It would be weird. But yeah, I would recommend, I'll put it in the chat, going to ads.google.com. And you might even want to Google something like how to use keyword planner without doing ads or something like that, because it's definitely a hack that people have used throughout the years. I used to work at an agency that was so cheap that they wouldn't pay for a keyword tool. So we would just all use Google Ads. But yeah, so then you hit discover new keywords and you go like I've been doing it for all the other ones. I'll type keyword research. It says English, United States, and then hit get results. And yeah, like I said before, it's a little frustrating because it's an average. So 1,000 to 10,000, like that could be as little as 1,005, or it could be as high as 9,999 searches. So, you're not going to get, like I said, the accurate, like super detailed number as like 2,800. But, if you come in here and it says like, I'm sure if I did like keyword research for small business owners, like a super long keyword, it'll probably say like 0 to 10, 0 to 10. So like you can see the difference between, and you can do this, you can see the difference between like a super, oh, hi, Brittany. You can see the difference between like a 100 to 1,000 versus like a 0 to 10, and, take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, so Emily said she had to make an ad but never launched it. So yeah, you kind of have to go through the process, like to kind of trick Google into thinking that so I don't want to say that because I'm on YouTube and they're listening, but you kind of have to trick Google into like, yeah, I'm using this planner to like create an ad, but then just never create the ad. So yeah, people might feel some way about giving their information, but this, like I said, is technically the only free tool I know of that lets you do like as many searches as you want every single time. And let's see, let's go back to like a better keyword. And you can it gives you some more detail too. So like competition low. So it's saying like people don't really bid on this. Bid is a Google Ads term. And then like you can kind of see like if someone's bidding like a super high amount of money, so like say this was like $50 or something, you can kind of see like, oh, that's a keyword that people pay a lot of money to rank for. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Year-over-year change, like, ooh, this keyword research tool, interesting. That's exactly what you're asking me about. That's gone up 900% year-over-year. So, there's some trend there that you might want to pay attention to. And then, yeah, like I always say, the only other like free thing I can think of is like doing the people also ask. So keyword research, going down to the bottom, seeing what comes up. Keyword research tool free, keyword Google keyword planner, keyword generator. So that's like, your way of coming up with some other keywords as well. This is as free as it can get. Trying to think. Yeah, Brittany says probably don't want higher prices as a smaller blog. So yeah, like if you saw someone bidding, $50 for a keyword, that might mean, okay, this is a super tough keyword to rank for. Just like if you were on SEMrush or one of these other keyword tools and you saw difficulty 70, maybe don't go after that keyword because it's a super difficult keyword. Obviously 100 is the highest. But if you did SEO research for small business, I'm sure this is like, we went over this last week, but like, yeah, so like this one, 48, so it's moderate, so it's easier. It also says no one searches for that, but you guys know how I feel about that. Okay, so yeah, Brittany says Uber Suggest isn't unlimited, but it's super clean and easy to use. So yeah, and we also were looking at that earlier, Brittany, like, yeah, like a lot of people do, like I said, do the lifetime one for Uber Suggest because it's available. So it is one of the cheaper options. I'd say that, Mangools, and maybe like the very, 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 very lowest tier of Ahrefs would be the cheapest paid ones. Cool. So that was just answering our question that we got from users. And then we were going to get into the topic of the day, which is technical SEO. But did anyone here have any questions before we dive into that topic deeper? All right, cool. Let me just close all these tabs because I have all these keyword tabs open. Cool. All right, so I will get started then. Once again, I'll put you guys over here so I don't lose you. Share window. This one. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to go over technical audits. And Teresa, if you're still here, I actually put your website into my software. If you want, I could go over your audit specifically, but if not, just let me know. If you want to write in the chat like yes or no. In the meantime, I can start with, okay, actually, I'm going to say real quick. Let me get to the audit I was going to share. Oh, okay, so Teresa says we can use her website. So here, let me share my screen once again. Cool. So not everyone's going to have access to this. It's a SEMrush audit. But if you ever have your site audited by someone and they send you all these suggestions or like, this is what's wrong with your website, a lot of SEOs will do that. I do that for free for people. So I'm pretty sure everyone on the chat at some point is going to receive an audit from me. Emily's gotten one. Brittany's on my list. Teresa's on my list. So yeah, when you get your audit from me and you see these items, I'll go over what each one means. And then, yeah, if you ever see someone say, like, you have this problem wrong with your website, this is what each one will mean. So, Teresa, the first thing that comes up is 91 pages have duplicate meta descriptions. So all that means is like more than one page on your website has the same meta description. And it actually looks like, for some of them at least, like your homepage, you have a slash at the end and then a slash not at the end. So that's interesting. But I will show you what a meta description is. We went over this last week too, but I can show again. So if I go to, oh, I can't right click. Yeah, you can't see my hover. But let me search like images by TK on Google. Your meta description would be this little blurb that you're supposed to put on the back end of your site for every page on your site. And so your meta description for the homepage, SEMrush is saying, is duplicated on another page. So for this, like this is a pretty like not a like super crazy issue. I definitely wouldn't prioritize this as like, you know, one of the top things I would work on if I was gonna fix this site. But yeah, so it's saying like this page is the same as 3 other pages. So, and it's probably because those pages are all very similar. So this is, yeah, so like this is Wickenburg, Arizona 2. This is Wickenburg, Arizona 3. Let's see what they're, you won't be able to see this, but I can see this. So yeah, the description for this one is vulture mine Wickenburg, Arizona. So it's the same for both photos. So all SEMrush is saying when it says duplicate meta descriptions is you have the same description for both of these pages. And it's recommended that each page on your site has a unique description so that you're telling the user like exactly what's on the page. Because, technically this picture is different than this picture, So you kind of want to describe them differently. Because like we talked about last week, the meta description is this little blurb that gets people enticed to click and view more. So you really want to write a nice description for each page on your site. Like for this one, it's like, discover this, vulture mine, Wickenburg, Arizona print from TK Images or whatever. So that's all that means. Let's see, what else? This is a big one. So this is the one that I would probably fix first. It says 12 internal links are broken. This is something also kind of similar to a 404. Essentially, it's saying that this page has a link on it that is broken. And so there's a couple things we could do here. So it's saying that all these pages are linking to this page and this page is broken. So that's telling Google like your website's not a very reliable site because it's got all these links that if a user clicks on, they hit a wall essentially. So that's kind of not a great signal you want to be sending to Google. So like I said, there's a couple ways we could fix this. Obviously, the first way would be to add a redirect for this. And so let me stop sharing screen real quick and just show you an example of a redirect. A redirect tells Google that this page URL changed to this URL. And so we want anytime a user visits that old URL for them to go to a new URL. And so a lot of some builders, they will automatically update and add a redirect for any broken links. And so that's really cool. But some, like WordPress, you have to go in and do it one by one. So what I mean by that is, say you were going to add a redirect, you would put like old URL here in a tool like this one is called redirections. It's probably the most popular redirect tool on your WordPress. So, but it's the same kind of thing for Squarespace too. You would find where you do this in Squarespace and you would do old URL here, and then you would say new URL here. So obviously it would be an actual URL. And yeah, that's just telling Google like, hey, every time someone hits this old URL, send them to this one instead. And then you would hit add redirect. And yeah, like I said, you can do this in Squarespace. I believe Wix does it for you, but you can also do it in Wix manually. Yeah, every builder should have this option. If not, it's not a great builder. So yeah, that's one thing that I would recommend first doing is, okay, yeah, so looks like Teresa says her husband had fixed all these, so there's just a couple more hanging out. And I can send you this list when I do your audit. But yeah, so you want to do a redirect first and foremost because, just in case there's any, because think about it, if there's anyone else out in the world linking to this page, you want them to redirect to the new page because you can control all the links on your site, but you can't control the links that maybe someone off site is linking to. So the other thing I would recommend doing is actually updating the link in the page itself. So let's see, we're looking for where it links to about the artists. Maybe it's at the bottom. Yeah, so at the bottom here, you can't see because I'm hovering, but this link right here links to that broken page. And, we could keep it like this because we just added that redirect. So someone would click it, they would get redirected to the new page. But it's best practice to not make Google do all that work. So instead of having someone click this, get redirected, and then they go to a new one, it's better to just, send them to the right place in the first place. So updating this link to whatever the new link is. Those are the two ways I would go about fixing this issue. So yeah, that's called internal link is broken. 6 incorrect pages found in your sitemap. So this is usually fixed, automatically with a builder, but it's basically saying there's a page in your sitemap that is a broken page, essentially. And yeah, so what it's saying here is you have this URL in your sitemap. This is the sitemap. You have this URL in your sitemap, but this URL redirects. So you'd want to take a look in your sitemap and make sure that the final destination is what's in the sitemap and not this page that redirects. And yeah, most sitemaps will automatically do this, so I'm surprised that this hasn't automatically done it. But yeah, this is something you'd, like I said, want to look in your sitemap, because essentially when Google looks at your sitemap, only URLs that are live, finished URLs should be in there. There shouldn't be any pages in there that redirect. So, I'm just going through each one because they seem really scary, but they're really not that scary. The 4 pages returned to 404 page. So we already kind of talked about this. These are broken links on the site. And for these, like I said, we would just want to add a redirect. I talked about this a couple weeks ago, but the only time you wouldn't really want to add a redirect is if it's like a product. Google kind of says, if you have a product and you're not selling it anymore, just kind of let that URL die. Like Google will eventually stop crawling it. Obviously, you would want to remove any internal links to that product if that product is no longer. But it doesn't really make sense to redirect a product to another product if it's not the same exact product. Does that make sense? Because if someone's clicking on a link and it's called like red sweater, and you got rid of that red sweater, but you didn't want them to hit a 404, so you redirected them to a page called like blue sweater. That's not the same product. They don't want a blue sweater. They wanted that red sweater. So it's better to instead just send them to a 404 that says, this product is no longer available. Here's some similar products. That's the only time really that you wouldn't, one of the only times where you wouldn't want to add a redirect. But for these like the about the artist, you would want to redirect to the new about page, and same for all these other ones. Hopefully that makes sense. And then, okay, so similar to the duplicate meta descriptions, for issues with duplicate title tags, this is saying that you have pages on the site that have the exact same title tag. And as a refresher, a title tag is this, title that you will see in search results. So just like a meta description, you want to have a unique title for each page on your site, especially because unlike meta descriptions that aren't a ranking factor, aka they won't get you ranking higher in the search results, a title tag could potentially help you rank higher in search results. So instead of using the same exact keywords and wording on 2 different pages, you should really go in and write a unique page title with different keywords on each page. And so, yeah, it's saying that these 2 pages have the same exact page title. And it's probably because, like I said, for the last one, they're both like the same kind of photograph. But yeah, you would just want to make sure that they're slightly different. And yeah, use this opportunity to get different keywords in each title. So yeah, not a huge issue. Like these all seem way scarier than they actually are. So duplicate content, this last one here. So it's saying that this page and this page have, the same content on them. So let's look at these 2 pages. And yeah, I guess they do, like yellow wildflower Arizona, yellow wildflower Arizona. Yeah, this is a error that comes up a bit especially when it comes to e-commerce sites. It's not a huge error. I wouldn't really spend too much time on it. Essentially, though, like just like the other errors, like you want to have unique content on every page of the site. You don't want two pages to have the exact same content. So Teresa says, oops, not good. So yeah, this might be something you didn't know of, that there's two different ones that look similar. So yeah, this is a good idea, like to take one down, or, if you did want both of them, you would just want to, add a description that, differentiated each one. So those were like the worst errors. So that's why they're called errors. But they weren't even that bad. So then you go to warnings, and these are like lesser bad ones. You'll see this warning a lot. 900 pages have low text to HTML ratio. And so if I hover over why and how to fix it, it just says, the issue is triggered when your text to HTML ratio is 10% or less. So it's saying, like, basically you should have more content on your page. So for that, I always say to clients, like, if you want, you could add more text to that page. But, for e-commerce site, there's really not so much content you can add to each product. So it's not a huge deal. But obviously, the more content you add to a page, the hardier it will be. This is a good one I like to help clients with. 149 pages have too much text within the title tags. So it's saying that 149 of your pages have super long page titles, which is a super common issue that a lot of sites have. So, like, for instance, this one, how can I see? Let's see. Oops. So for that one, like, this is your page title. And just for interest's sake, let's see how many page or characters that is. So I highlight it, I go to word count. Okay, so it's 80 characters. So Google recommends that page titles are about like 60 characters. It kind of there's no right answer, but it's around 55 to 60 characters. And although SEMrush is saying this is a huge warning, it's not actually something you'll get in trouble for, but it's just in the search results itself. If your page title is super long, it'll happen like this, where it'll get truncated with this ... So you kind of want the user to see your entire page title. So it's recommended to, like I said, keep it to that like 55 character, 60 character limit. So let me see another one. I'll do like my website. I tend to do long page titles because I'm trying to get every keyword in there. And, this doesn't look terrible. It's just missing the words Jersey. So, like, I kind of sacrificed having a long page title for, trying to get that Jersey word in there. So, like I said, it's not a huge issue, but it's better, to have a nice, clean page title. And you can, do testing with this, like try to see where Google cuts you off. So like, for instance, I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. It cuts off after South. So maybe I change it to, NJ instead, So yeah, just play around with them. I always say to put the most important content at the front of a page title, because then it's not going to get cut off. And then I'll just say what I said last week. Google can technically rewrite all of this. So you can spend hours writing perfect page titles and meta descriptions, and Google might change it based on what the user searched, to make it more, fitting for what they searched. So yeah, so the saying these are really long, you might want to just go in and shorten some of them. Let's see what's next. Okay, so this says 71 pages have duplicate H1 and title tags. This is also like something that SEMrush has kind of like, it's a warning, but it's not technically something Google has ever said is going to hurt you. It's just, a lot of these things SEMrush will ding, but they're not super huge issues. It's just something that has been said over and over and over again for the last 25 years. So it's saying it's a bad idea to duplicate your title tag in the first level header. It might appear over-optimized to search engines. And so what that's saying is, we can see which ones have that problem. What that's saying is your page title is exactly the same as this H1 header. So let's see, your page title right now is Yellow Wildflower Arizona, and then your brand name. But if it was just Yellow Wildflower Arizona, and then this was your H1, they would be exactly the same. Let's see which ones it's saying are the exact same. Okay, so this one. So yeah, it's saying that this one's page title is exactly the same as this H1, which they find that Google could maybe think that that's a little spammy, which it's kind of their opinion, but yeah, in my opinion, it's not so much an over-optimized thing. It's just kind of a, why not try and get different keywords in both spots? So maybe you have this as the page title, or you have this as the H1 because that's the name of the product. But then as the page title, you do more of like a reorganizing. So instead you could do like photo of the 1900s Manchi or whatever. Like, use that page title to get more keywords across, or do a different wording than this exact same wording as the H1. And the reason this problem comes about, as I'm sure you know, is your builder, if you don't tell it a page title, it just takes whatever the H1 is and makes it the page title. So that's why this problem happens all the time. But yeah, it's basically just saying, why not have a different one than your page title? So yeah, it's not a huge issue, but it's just a recommendation. Okay, so this says 63 images don't have alt attributes. So this is alt text. Alt text is used to describe what's in an image for screen readers and visually impaired users. So this is, once again, also not something that you're going to get in trouble for. There was a time where Google was considering dinging websites that weren't accessible or accessibly friendly, but that's not really something that ever got put into place. But images are a way that you can rank on Google. So like, say I Googled, Lake Powell, Alstrom Point. If you had written an optimized alt tag for this image might show up. And as a photographer, that might be something you want to look into. So just making sure every image, and I can't click on your site because it makes sense for copyright reasons, but just making sure that each image on your site has a alt text written for it. And so yeah, make sure that it's not a keyword stuffed alt text. Make sure it is just describing what is in the image. That's what's important. So for this, like I said, you would say, nature photo of Alstrom Point in Lake Powell, Utah. Or you can describe it even more than that. But yeah, just making sure that each image has an alt text is important. Okay, so this is interesting. I looked this up before we started just to see if this was still an issue. So 42 pages have underscores in the URL. So it's funny. The reason this is an issue, I found out, is because when Google sees underscores versus hyphens, it will combine these two words. So nature underscore photos, the way Google's programming works, it doesn't see underscores, so it'll just combine those words into nature photos. So that's why it's best practice to use hyphens in your URLs instead of underscores. Now, with that being said, if you're going to take this audit's advice and, switch out all of these to be hyphens, you would want, once again, to do the 40 or the redirects. So if you changed this URL from photo_blog to photo-blog, just make sure that you're then adding redirects, because, you know, you probably had this URL for years. So who knows where that is linked to or from. So yeah, it's something you might want to fix. It's not a huge issue, but it's just best practice to do hyphens instead of underscores. So yeah, just make sure of that. Let's see. Okay, this is a big one. So 20 links on HTTPS pages lead to HTTP page. So this is called mixed content. So Google really likes secure, I'm sorry about that, secure websites. So it really likes to see HTTPS links. And when you link to a old link, which is an HTTP link, it's kind of icky to Google. It feels a little unsecure. So for these instances, you would just want to update these links to be the secure version, so that Google sees like secure link to secure link. There's no sketchy business happening, because Google really doesn't want to send users to websites that aren't secure. And so if it sees that you're linking to unsecure websites, it's kind of like, I don't trust them. So yeah, always make sure to link to HTTPS. And this is a huge tip. A lot of people, when they add links on sites, they'll just hit, link, and they'll just go, like this is my website, intertwinedseo.com. And they'll be like, boop, call it a day. No, that's not how you want to add links. It's easier, but it's not the right way. Because look what happens. It's unsecure. So it's best practice when you add a link to, add the entire URL. So instead, you would want to go to the URL, copy it, link, and paste it. Because look, then you have the exact full secure URL. So that's something I see all the time is clients just, not even using the HTTP, not even using the www, just, putting the shortest version of URL. So that's my pro tip of the day. Okay, so 12 pages don't have meta descriptions. That's just saying, like we talked about earlier, each page is supposed to have one of these little descriptions added to it. And meta descriptions should be about 155 characters. And then if they're longer than that, they risk truncation like this. So they can be as long as you want them to be, but just know that they'll probably get cut off. See, this one's not truncated, see? So you want to make sure that each page on your site has an optimized meta description and title tag, and that they're unique. 8 external images are broken. External images, interesting. Let me close all these tabs. Let's see what it's talking about here. Okay, so yeah, this is like, it says external because it's your CDN, which is your content delivery network. And yeah, I was about to say, I bet if you go to this page, you'll see some black squares. Yeah, so see there's a broken link on your page here. So you want a good user experience for Google. So just making sure that all the pictures on your website work is best practice. So that's all that means is, there's a broken image. And then 5 external links are broken. So this is just like how you want all your internal links to work. You also want all your external links to work. And that's a bit harder to audit because obviously if you update a page on your site, like, oh, I should update the links across my site to match the new URL. You don't really know when someone else changes their website. So like if I changed a page on my site, and someone's linking to it, they don't know that I changed it. So that's why this tool is so useful, because it's saying like, oh, this page is broken, and you would just go in and fix that. And then one page doesn't have enough text within the title tags. This is kind of SEMrush just, saying what they think. So similar to how we said that a page title should be about 55 characters, this page title is super short, so you want to make it longer. Great, and then we go down to the last tier, which is notices. So these are the least important errors. These are resources are formatted as page links. This is kind of over my head, but it's not a huge issue. Let's see what it's talking about. So it says, we detected that some links to resources are formatted with. I'm following a page like that. Yeah, so it's saying review your links, replace href links with tags necessary. You'd like to add an image. Yeah, so it's a little over my head. I always kind of ignore that one. Essentially, it's the way you're linking to something, but I think it's fine. 100 or 1,000 links have no anchor text. A lot of times this will be like when it's an image or something like that. So a lot of times we can ignore this. Like for instance, I bet this one is an image. Yeah, so it's saying that this link doesn't have a anchor text. The times that this matters is when you'll see in like a blog post, it'll say, for more information about this, click here. And this will be linked. Link. That's also would make this alert happen, which means it has no anchor text. No, it has no descriptive anchor text. And so in this case, we would recommend saying, for more information about our photography, visit our photography bio page or something like that. And then you would actually link these words, like visit our photography bio page, and you would link that instead. Essentially, all that's doing is telling the user and Google what this link is going to take this person to. It's going to take them to a photography bio page. If you just link the word here, click here. It's first of all telling visually impaired users, what? Click here. What is that? What am I looking like? What? And it's telling Google the same thing, like click here. What is that doing? Where am I going to go? Whereas if you're telling them exactly what they're going to, it makes the user experience better. It also is good for SEO because it's also telling Google, hey, this page is about this photo bio page. If you just link the word here, you're telling Google, hey, this page is about here. Like that's not good for SEO at all. So yeah, don't worry about this too much if it's like for images and stuff like that. But if it's telling you that, you're linking words like here, then you'll want to fix that. Okay, so it's saying there's issues with broken external JavaScript and CSS files. This is really over my head. So this is like stuff I would probably send to a developer. But it's saying that there might be some issues with your like JavaScript, which could mean like a theme. So in this case, it's something wrong with a widget. So you would want to ask a developer to fix that for you. So yeah, sometimes these can help with web dev, things like that. 600 pages are blocked from crawling. We'll go over this a bit more when we do the Search Console report, but essentially, like, this is fine. Sometimes you want to block Google from seeing certain pages. You would want to look at this list, though, and just make sure there's not any pages in there that you don't want Google to be blocked from. Like if it's like your home page, it's like, oh, you want Google to find that. If it's your cart page, that makes sense. You don't want Google to find that page. 392 pages need more than 3 clicks to be reached. So this is kind of getting into the territory of orphaned pages. Essentially, if a page is like a pretty important page to you, you don't want Google to have to go down too many, what's the word? branches. So if it's like home, about photos, photo, you know, Google has to go down like branches to get to each page. And so this is saying some of these pages are 3 clicks away from the home page. And so it's kind of hard for Google to get to these pages because it has to go through a bunch of paths to get there. So you'd want to look at these pages and see like, oh, should we put that closer to the home page? Maybe it's linked somewhere from the home page or from a top level page. And then this is nondescript anchor text. That's what we were talking about with that here thing. 15 URLs have a permanent redirect. So redirects aren't bad. So this is kind of saying, it's just basically telling you, hey, these pages have a redirect. But redirects aren't bad really. What is bad about it is it's kind of what we were talking about earlier, which is instead of making Google go to this URL just to get redirected to a new URL, you should instead go through and update these to go directly to the final destination, just to make Google, you know, do less work. They crawl a lot of websites every day. Make them do less work. And this is similar to what I was saying. 65 pages only have one incoming internal link. So it's saying only one page on your site is linking to that page. So if it's a page that you're really trying to rank highly on search engines, you're going to want to link to it more than just one time. So say you just added a new blog post. This happens all the time with blog posts. Make sure you're linking to it from other places so that Google and users find it. Only having one internal link, you know, it's not going to get found very easily. And this is a pretty big one too. 26 pages have more than one H1 tag. Google has said over and over again that this is okay, but SEMrush still thinks it's not okay. It's not a huge issue, but it's just helpful for Google to see only one H1 tag because it tells them this is the most important part of this page, you know? And then these are less important headings. You know, this is a heading, this is a heading. So by having more than one H1, it's just kind of confusing Google, like what is the most important part of this page? Which is why you're supposed to do, you know, an H1 and then an H2 and then an H3. So Google can see like, oh, most important, second most important, third most important. So it's not necessarily terrible to have two. It's just you're kind of splitting Google's vision of it. Let's not go into Robots.txt. 5 orphaned pages. So this is what I was talking about before. About you know you want pages to be linked throughout the site. This one is saying that these 5 pages, which we can go look at, aren't linked to from anywhere. So they're not linked to from, you know, any page on the site. So for instance, like this /brands /scenery /Yellowstone National Park, like you could add a link to those from a blog. You could add a link from one of the other product pages. But if you want Google to find these pages, you're definitely going to want to link to them somewhere else. Let's see. This one I never really understand. 2 links to... Okay, so 2 links to external pages return a 404 or 403. So you'll want to see like make sure that these external links are working. This isn't an issue because you have 0, but page URLs are longer than 200 characters. Once again, there's no problem with this, but Google suggests that URLs aren't like extremely crazy long. Keep your URLs somewhat concise. Obviously, with products, they can get pretty long because you have to do, you know, product, subproduct, you know, just keeping them as neat as possible. This is interesting. Robots.txt not found. So I've talked about this before, but a Robots.txt file, I guess I said we were going to skip that, but let's see if you have one. Robots.txt file tells Google, oops, I did all caps. what pages they can and can't crawl. Okay, so you have one. I'm not really sure why it says it's not found. Oh, I guess it's not saying that, or else it would say an issue. Sorry. Where did it go? So this is telling Google and other crawlers what they can and can't see on the site. And like I said, it makes sense that you're telling them not to look at the cart. You're telling them not to look at the checkout page because, you know, you don't need them to see those pages. What this one thing that I skipped was 11 issues with blocked external resources in Robots.txt. And so that this is all this is saying is, well, let's see what it's saying. So it's saying that you're blocking like gallery.mailchimp.com. Where? MailChimp? I'm not seeing where it's saying that though. Disallow. Yeah, I'm not really seeing where that's being blocked from though. So I'd have to do a bigger dive into that. But basically this warning is just saying like if you're blocking something in your sitemap or Robots.txt, you'd want to go see if that's something you actually want to be blocking. But yeah, I wanted to go over Search Console, but this kind of took a long time. I don't know how many of you are still here. Does anyone have any questions about, sorry. That was crazy looking. Any questions about SEMrush site audits? Feel free to ask questions. In summary, you know, it's scary when your site gets like, you know, this site has a 76. Oh no, that's crazy. But a lot of these are SEMrush having an opinion on something that Google has said doesn't necessarily matter too much, or B, you know, they're issues, but there's just something you can add to your list to things to work on over time. The big ones obviously are, you know, the broken pages. Let's see, the broken links, duplicate meta descriptions and titles. Another big one, the HTTPS leading to HTTP. Images being broken, external links being broken. So yeah, just kind of going through, like, alt text is important, but it's definitely not something I would tell you to do above other things. And yeah, like the best thing I can say is, especially if you're just starting a site, is just try and keep things working. You know, as sites get bigger, they get less hard to manage. But you know, if you're doing things right along the way, these won't happen. So if you're updating a page URL, you know, add a redirect, update the links that are sending people there. If you go through and delete all these images from your gallery, make sure that they're not anywhere on the site. What else? Like when you're adding new links, don't, you know, add them super lazily. Make sure you're linking with the HTTPS. Just like some best practices. When you're adding an image, this is the problem I have such a hard time with. When you're adding an image, instead of just saying, oh, I'll add an alt text later, add the alt text when you're adding the image. It'll save you so much time later on. I rarely do it, but I know how important it is. Add the alt text when you add the image, so you don't have to go back and optimize 100 images. I should probably stop sharing. But yeah, so thank you so much for being here. That was a lot. I feel like every time I keep saying that was a lot. But yeah, that was a lot. Technical SEO, it's its own little beast. It's a combination of SEO and web development. So, you know, there were a couple times I was a little like confused about stuff. That's when I would go to a developer and ask for help. But yeah, essentially Google only wants to send people to healthy, you know, working sites, and that's why it matters. So cool. Well, thank you everyone for being here. like I said, the next one is on December 19th. Who knows what we'll be covering then, but I'll come up with something. And in the meantime, if you want to send me questions, just send me them. And yeah, I'll send this out in a recap so that you can watch this all over again. So thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.